The cool evening breeze swept through the small suburban neighborhood where Jack lived. At only 12 years old, he was known for his curiosity and intelligence, often spending hours tinkering with gadgets and electronics in his garage-turned-lab. As Jack was dismantling an old radio to harvest parts for his latest project, his father, Mike, stepped into the garage. Mike, a software engineer, had always encouraged Jack's inventive nature. "Working on something new?" Mike asked, peering over Jack's shoulder at the scattered parts on the workbench. "Yeah, trying to build a better signal receiver. Thought I could boost the Wi-Fi around here," Jack replied without looking up. Mike chuckled. "That would certainly make everyone happy. Let me know if you need help with the software side." Their moment of bonding was interrupted by the sudden blare of emergency sirens from the television inside. Curious, they both headed into the living room where Jack's older brother Alex was staring intently at the screen. "Look at this," Alex said as he turned up the volume. The news showed chaotic scenes from around the world. An anchor was speaking urgently. "Unconfirmed reports of unidentified flying objects sighted over major cities across the globe. Authorities are urging calm until more information is available." The screen split, showing a live feed of a massive, silvery object descending slowly in the sky above Washington, D.C. It was unlike any aircraft known to man, its surface smooth and seamless, reflecting the city lights. Jack's mother, Sarah, entered the room, her face etched with concern. "What's going on?" "We're not sure yet," Mike replied, his voice tense as he watched the unfolding events. As the family stood watching, the broadcast cut to a live statement from the President of the United States. She stood at a podium, her demeanor calm but serious. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," she began. "Today, we stand at a pivotal moment in human history. Early this morning, our planet was approached by what we now understand to be extraterrestrial beings." Jack's heart raced. "Aliens? Really?" The president continued. "We have established initial contact and their intentions appear peaceful. They have requested a meeting with leaders from each nation. This meeting will happen in Geneva 3 days from now." The broadcast showed the alien ship again, now stationary above the National Mall. The sight was surreal, like something out of a movie. "Peaceful? Yeah, right. Why would they come all this way just to talk?" Alex scoffed, folding his arms. "Maybe they're curious about us," Jack suggested, his mind alight with possibilities. "Or maybe they want something from us," Mike added, his tone skeptical. The news shifted to scenes of public reaction. Some people were panicking, others were celebrating, and many were just confused. "Dad, do you think they're telling the truth about being peaceful?" Jack asked, looking up at his father. Mike sighed. "I don't know, son, but whatever their reason, we need to be careful. The world isn't exactly united. This could change everything." Jack nodded, his mind buzzing with questions. What did the aliens look like? What technology did they have? And most importantly, what did they want with Earth? "I want to see them," Jack murmured, more to himself than anyone else. Alex laughed. "Trust me, little bro. You'll be seeing plenty of them soon enough." As the family continued to watch the developments, the night grew deeper, the stars outside overshadowed by the glowing presence of the alien ship. In that moment, Jack felt a mix of excitement and fear. The world had just gotten a lot bigger, and suddenly, the young boy with a passion for electronics wondered if his skills could one day bridge the gap between two worlds. In the sprawling, high-security conference room of the United Nations headquarters in New York, a palpable tension hung in the air. World leaders, diplomats, and military officials from across the globe had gathered in an unprecedented emergency assembly. The massive screen at the front displayed the serene yet imposing image of the Zaltrax ambassador, an alien entity whose appearance, a blend of bioluminescent skin and sharp, angular features, challenged every preconceived notion of life beyond Earth. Jack's father, Mike, who had been called in as part of the technical advisory team, whispered to a colleague, "They look nothing like what we expected." His colleague, Dr. Alan Torres, a leading astrophysicist, nodded in agreement. "And their technology is leagues beyond ours. Just the fact that they've managed this interstellar journey is proof enough." At the podium, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Thomas Lee, adjusted his glasses nervously before speaking. "Ambassador, the people of Earth are grateful for your peaceful approach. We are eager to understand your intentions and the purpose of your visit." The ambassador's voice, translated from its native clicks and whirs into English through a device, filled the room. "Leaders of Earth, we come to you with open hands. Our civilization has watched yours from afar, and we see potential in forming a connection. However, our laws require that we only engage with worlds that follow our directives. You will have one Earth day to agree to become a protectorate of the Zaltrax Dominion." A stunned silence followed. It wasn't an invitation, it was an ultimatum. The French president was the first to regain her composure. "And if we refuse to accept these terms?" The alien's luminescent eyes narrowed slightly. "Then, regrettably, we will have to consider Earth a hostile entity and take necessary actions to neutralize the threat your independence poses." The threat was clear: surrender or face annihilation. As the meeting adjourned, Jack, who had been watching the live stream from his home, felt a surge of anger and fear. He turned to his brother Alex, who was home from college. "They can't just expect us to roll over. There has to be something we can do." Alex, looking equally troubled, replied, "We need to understand more. What's their technology like? What are their weaknesses?" Back at the UN, Mike and Dr. Torres were in a heated discussion. "We can't just accept this. But our conventional weapons won't be enough if it comes to a fight," Mike said, looking over schematics of alien technology that had been hastily shared by international intelligence agencies. Dr. Torres pointed at the screen, where diagrams of the Zaltrax ships highlighted unknown materials and energy sources. "Their technology is based on principles we haven't even theorized, but perhaps we can learn enough from them to find a way to defend ourselves." Meanwhile, the Secretary General convened a closed-door session with select leaders and advisors. "We need plans, both diplomatic and defensive," he stated firmly. In the safety of his home, Jack began to sketch ideas. His young mind, unbound by the limits of current scientific understanding, wandered through possibilities of countering the alien tech with innovative tactics. He started researching everything available on electromagnetic pulses, quantum computing, and unconventional warfare. Late into the night, while the world's leaders debated their grim options, Jack sent an email filled with ideas and sketches to his father. The subject line read simply, "Can these help?" As Mike read his son's email in his temporary office at the UN, he couldn't help but smile, despite the gravity of the situation. Jack's ideas were untested and theoretical, but they sparked a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this young mind had the seed of a solution that could help them stand a chance against the alien threat. The Zaltrax's presence had settled like a shadow over Jack's suburban neighborhood, transformed overnight into a monitored zone. Alien drones, sleek and silent, patrolled the skies, enforcing the new order with an unspoken threat of force. But within Jack, the simmering resentment and fear fueled a defiant spark. Early one Saturday morning, Jack was in his garage, his workspace now cluttered with schematics and electronic parts. He was deeply focused, soldering a circuit board for what he hoped would be a disruptive tool against the alien tech. "Jack, you've been out here for hours," his mother, Sarah, called from the doorway, a concerned look on her face. "You need to eat something." "Just a few more minutes, Mom. I think I'm on to something," Jack replied without looking up. His father, Mike, entered the garage, his face drawn with the stress of the past few days. "What are you working on?" he asked, peering over Jack's shoulder. "It's a signal jammer," Jack explained. "I figured out that the drones operate on a specific frequency. If I can disrupt it, even for a few seconds, it might give people a chance to move without being tracked." Mike raised his eyebrows, impressed. "That's ambitious, son, but be careful. If they trace the disruption back to you..." Jack cut him off, his voice firm. "We can't just sit around and do nothing. I want to help." That night, Jack and Alex ventured out, each carrying a homemade jammer tucked into their backpacks. The streets were eerily quiet under the oppressive glow of the drones hovering above. As they approached the town square, Jack activated his device. Instantly, the nearest drone twitched, its lights flickering before it veered off course. "Did you see that?" Alex whispered, a mix of excitement and disbelief in his voice. "Yeah, it worked," Jack whispered back, a surge of adrenaline rushing through him. The brothers quickly moved to spread more jammers around strategic points in the neighborhood, each time with the drones temporarily disabled, allowing people to peek from their windows and doors, witnessing acts of quiet rebellion. However, their success was short-lived. The next day, more sophisticated drones were deployed, immune to Jack's jammers. It was clear the Zaltrax were adapting, learning from human resistance tactics. Discouraged, but not defeated, Jack returned to his garage, determined to improve his designs. As he worked, a knock came at the door. It was Mr. Henderson, an elderly neighbor and a retired electronics engineer. I saw what you and your brother did last night, Mr. Henderson said, his eyes glinting with a mix of caution and respect. I have some ideas that might help. Together, they pored over diagrams and components, Mr. Henderson's expertise guiding Jack's raw talent. They developed a new version of the jammer, now capable of randomizing frequencies in a way that was harder for the alien technology to adapt to. The word of their efforts spread, and soon other residents started showing up at Jack's garage, each bringing different skills and resources. A community of resistance began to form, bonded by a common cause and a shared enemy. As Jack's reputation grew, so did his resolve. Each successful disruption, each moment of reclaimed freedom, however brief, ignited hope across the community. Jack had become more than just a clever kid. He was a symbol of defiance, a leader in a grassroots fight against an overwhelming foe. In the dark of the night, under the watchful eyes of alien technology, a network of resistance thrived, small sparks of rebellion fanning into a flame that promised to grow, driven by the courage and ingenuity of a young boy and his united community. The small victories in Jack's neighborhood had inspired similar acts of defiance across the country. News of a young boy leading a local resistance reached the ears of a clandestine group of international military leaders and strategic planners who had been working in the shadows since the Zaltrax's arrival. Intrigued and desperate for any advantage, they reached out to Mike, hoping to learn more about Jack's innovations. In a secure, undisclosed location, military officials and resistance leaders from various countries convened for a critical meeting. The room was a stark contrast to the high-tech surveillance and alien architecture now common in cities. Here, old maps and digital screens were scattered, a blend of old-school and modern warfare planning. Colonel Parker, a seasoned military strategist from the U.S., addressed the group. We've seen pockets of resistance like what's happening in Jack's town, but we need a coordinated effort. This kid's got ideas that could change the game. Mike, present via a secure video link, nodded. Jack has been working on several projects. He's young, but don't underestimate him. He has a knack for turning theory into practical solutions. The decision was made to integrate Jack and his father into their operations, providing them with resources and a platform to expand their resistance technologies. Back at home, Jack was both excited and nervous about the proposition. His garage was soon upgraded with equipment sent discreetly by the Resistance's backers, transforming it into a mini-lab. One evening, as Jack and Mr. Henderson were testing a new drone interception prototype, a group of new faces arrived, led by a man introduced as Major Singh, a tactical operations leader. Jack, we've been following your progress, Major Singh said, extending a hand to the young inventor. Your devices have caught the attention of many. We're here to help you scale up your efforts. With the Major came a team of experts, engineers, hackers, and former pilots, all eager to learn from and contribute to Jack's projects. Among them was Dr. Lena Ortiz, a brilliant cybersecurity expert known for her unconventional tactics against digital espionage. Your jammers are impressive, but we need to stay one step ahead of their adaptive tech, Dr. Ortiz explained as she examined Jack's designs. Let's work on integrating some decoy algorithms and maybe even some AI-driven countermeasures. The weeks that followed were a blur of activity. Jack's home became a hub of resistance activity, with people coming and going at all hours. The backyard, once a place for family barbecues, now hosted a secretive camp where drone tactics were developed and refined. Together, they improved the jammers, turning them into robust devices capable of creating safe zones free from surveillance. They also developed software that could hijack drones, turning them against their Zaltrax controllers. As their tools and tactics became more sophisticated, so did their operations. Jack's role transitioned from a local tinkerer to a key figure in a global resistance network. His strategies and inventions were distributed worldwide, replicated by other resistance cells. One night, gathered around the glow of computer screens, the team watched live as their hijacked drones successfully disrupted a Zaltrax supply line in Europe, a major victory. Cheers erupted in the room, and Jack at the center felt a surge of pride. He wasn't just fighting back anymore, he was helping lead a global movement. The resistance was no longer just a series of isolated skirmishes, but a coordinated effort striking at the heart of the Zaltrax occupation. With each success, humanity's hope grew, fueled by the fire of rebellion and the brilliance of a boy who had once just dreamed of improving Wi-Fi. Now, he was altering the course of an interstellar conflict. The resistance had grown into a formidable force, stitching together a network of cells that spanned continents. Jack's innovations, once simple neighborhood projects, now powered critical missions against the Zaltrax forces. With the support of Dr. Ortiz, Major Singh, and other strategic minds, Jack refined his technology, tailoring it to exploit vulnerabilities in the alien command structures. In the bustling underground headquarters, Colonel Parker reviewed the latest plans with Jack and his team. Maps and digital projections illuminated the walls, showing potential targets and current Zaltrax positions. "We have a window of opportunity," Colonel Parker explained, pointing to a cluster of sites on the map. "Their communication hubs here, and here are less fortified at night. Your new drone jammers could give us the cover we need to take them out." Jack, standing beside his father and Mr. Henderson, nodded. "We've set up the jammers to create a cascading effect. Once we knock out one hub, it'll disrupt their network long enough for us to hit the next." Major Singh chimed in. "It's a domino strategy. Hit them fast and hard, one after another, before they can recalibrate." The room buzzed with nervous energy as the plan was set into motion. Teams were deployed across the globe, each equipped with Jack's latest devices. Back at headquarters, Jack monitored the operations from multiple screens, his heart racing with each update. As night fell across the different time zones, the resistance struck. In Europe, the first hub was disabled, its alien overseers caught off guard as human forces swept in. The news of the initial success invigorated the team, and Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. "Next target, 2 minutes out," Dr. Ortiz announced, her eyes glued to a real-time satellite feed. Jack watched as the second hub, located in Asia, went dark. Cheers erupted around him, but he remained focused. "Keep moving, don't let up," he urged the team. The third target was in South America. As the resistance fighters approached, a problem arose. The Zaltrax had deployed additional security drones, more advanced than the ones Jack had previously encountered. "Jack, we need an override on these new drones. Now!" Major Singh's voice crackled over the comms. Working swiftly, Jack adjusted the code on the fly, sending a patch through to the team on the ground. "Try it now." Moments later, the feedback was positive. The enhanced jammers worked, and the third hub fell silent. The mission was a success, but everyone in the room knew this was just the beginning. With each victory, the resistance gained more than just territory. They captured crucial Zaltrax technology, which Jack and his team reverse-engineered to further enhance their arsenal. As weeks turned into months, the balance of power began to shift. The Zaltrax, once seemingly invincible, now appeared vulnerable. Reports of their withdrawals and regroupings were frequent, and human forces reclaimed lost ground. Amid these strategic victories, Jack's role evolved. He wasn't just the brain behind the tech. He became a symbol of hope and ingenuity for humanity. His story spread far and wide, from underground forums to broadcasted speeches, inspiring others to join the cause. In a significant broadcast to the resistance, Colonel Parker declared, "Thanks to Jack and every one of you, we've turned the tide, but the war is far from over. We fight not just for our planet, but for our future." As the broadcast ended, Jack looked around at the faces of his team, worn but determined. They had achieved much, but at great cost. The fight would continue, but for now, they had proven that human ingenuity could challenge the might of an alien empire, and Jack, the boy who once dreamed of boosting Wi-Fi, was at the heart of it all. The Resistance's campaign of disruption and sabotage had forced the Zaltrax into a defensive posture, but the human leaders knew that to truly secure Earth's freedom, they needed a decisive blow against the alien command. The target was the Zaltrax mothership, orbiting Earth, serving as both their command center and their primary base of operations. Inside the Resistance's makeshift war room, Jack, now recognized as the mastermind behind many of the Resistance's successful tactics, presented his most daring plan yet. With his father Mike, Major Singh, and Colonel Parker by his side, he outlined a detailed strategy to infiltrate the mothership. "We've managed to capture one of their shuttles during the last raid," Jack began, pointing to the holographic blueprints of the alien vessel. "I've been working on hacking its systems. If we can get a team inside, we can deliver a payload that will disable the ship from within." Major Singh looked over the plan with a tactical eye. "This is a one-way trip. We'll need volunteers who understand the risks." "I've already started training with the team," Mike added, showing confidence in his son's plan. Jack's modifications to the shuttle should get us past their initial security scans. The room filled with a heavy silence as the weight of the mission settled on everyone's shoulders. It was Colonel Parker who finally broke the silence. "Let's get to work. We have no time to lose." Preparations moved quickly. Jack and his father worked tirelessly, modifying the captured shuttle's systems and loading it with an EMP device designed to disrupt the mothership's power core. Meanwhile, a hand-picked team of resistance fighters, including skilled pilots and combat specialists, trained for the mission. On the eve of the operation, the team gathered for a final briefing. Jack, though not going on the mission himself, handed over the control device for the EMP to the team leader, Captain Martinez. "Once you're in, navigate to the central core, plant the EMP, and get out as fast as you can," Jack instructed, his voice steady despite the gnawing anxiety. The following night, under the cover of cosmic darkness, the shuttle launched. As it approached the mothership, the resistance on Earth monitored its progress. Jack, stationed at his console, watched as the shuttle's signal blinked steadily on the screen. The team managed to dock undetected, thanks to the alien technology Jack had repurposed. They disembarked, moving quickly and silently through the labyrinthine corridors of the mothership. Back on Earth, Jack's heart raced as he waited for updates. Minutes stretched into hours. Suddenly, the signal blinked out. Come on," Jack muttered under his breath, his hands clenched. Then just as suddenly, the signal returned. "We're clear. EMP is set. Evacuate." Captain Martinez's voice crackled through the comms, strained but triumphant. The team raced back to the shuttle as alarms began to blare throughout the mothership. Just as they detached, the EMP activated, sending a cascade of electrical surges through the alien ship. From Earth, the Resistance watched as the once dominant silhouette of the mothership flickered and started to drift. Cheers erupted around Jack, the relief palpable in the air. But the victory was bittersweet. As they celebrated, reports came in that not all of the team had made it back. Some had sacrificed themselves to ensure the mission's success. Colonel Parker placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, his expression solemn. "They knew the risks, they died heroes, and because of them, we've got a real shot at taking our planet back." As the reality of their loss sank in, the resolve in the room hardened. The decisive battle had been won, but the war was not over. Yet, with the Zaltrax mothership disabled and their leadership in disarray, the tide had turned significantly in humanity's favor. Now, it was time to reclaim their world. In the aftermath of the decisive blow to the Zaltrax mothership, the alien forces on Earth were thrown into chaos. Without the command and control from their orbital base, their operations were disjointed, providing an ideal opportunity for humanity to strike back. Jack, once the boy with ideas, had grown into the role of a strategic mastermind essential to the Resistance's success. The Resistance leadership convened in what used to be a high-security military facility, now repurposed as the central hub for the final push against the alien invaders. With Jack's father, Mike, by his side, they pored over satellite images and reports of alien troop movements. "We've disrupted their command structure, but the ground forces still pose a significant threat," Colonel Parker briefed the gathered leaders. "Our next move is to disable their regional bases before they can regroup." Jack stood up, ready with another innovative plan. The Zaltrax rely heavily on their energy shields, which are powered by localized generators. If we take those out, their defenses will crumble. He laid out a detailed map pointing to specific targets. "Here, here, and here. These are the locations of their main generators. We strike these simultaneously. I've developed a series of EMP drones capable of neutralizing the shields." Major Singh, looking over the plans, nodded in agreement. "It's bold, but it's our best shot. We'll need precision strikes. Timing will be everything." Teams were quickly assembled, with Jack coordinating the technical aspects of the operation. His inventions, once prototypes in his garage, were now sophisticated weapons of war. Each team was equipped with EMP drones and detailed instructions on their deployment. As D-Day approached, Jack couldn't help but feel the weight of the upcoming battle. He and his father spent long hours checking every possible contingency, aware that the slightest miscalculation could cost lives. The operation commenced at dawn. Resistance fighters, spread across the globe, launched their attacks on the alien generators. Jack monitored the progress from headquarters, adjusting strategies in real time as reports came in. The first strike was a success. In North America, the EMP drone disabled the generator, and the alien shields flickered out, allowing ground forces to overrun the base. Cheers broke out in the command center, but Jack remained focused, his eyes fixed on the other operations. In Europe, the scenario was tougher. The drone was initially repelled by heavy anti-air defenses. Jack quickly rerouted another drone to assist, providing the necessary distraction for the first to reach its target. Another victory was declared as the European base fell. However, in Asia, the situation was dire. The drone malfunctioned, and the team was pinned down. With no time to waste, Jack initiated a manual override from headquarters, steering the drone to the target himself. The generator was hit, and the base's defenses collapsed just in time to save the resistance fighters. As the last base was neutralized, a palpable sense of triumph mixed with exhaustion filled the air. Jack, surrounded by his team, felt a moment of overwhelming relief. They had done it. The alien forces were defeated. The victory was monumental. With their generators destroyed, the Zaltrax had no choice but to retreat. Reports of their ships leaving Earth's orbit came flooding in, signaling the end of their occupation. In the command center, there was a moment of silence, a collective breath held and then released. Colonel Parker addressed the room. "Thanks to Jack and each one of you, we've secured our planet. It's time to rebuild and ensure this never happens again." As the resistance celebrated, Jack stepped outside, looking up at the sky now clear of alien ships. He had dreamed of this moment, fought for it with every ounce of his intellect and courage. Earth was free once more, and while the future was uncertain, it was theirs to shape. The war was over. The Zaltrax forces, once looming over humanity with the threat of annihilation, had retreated, leaving Earth to its native inhabitants. Cities, once battlegrounds, slowly began to stir to life as people emerged from hiding, blinking in the light of a world reborn. Jack, who had started as a curious boy with a penchant for electronics, had become a hero, celebrated not only for his brilliance, but for his courage. In the quiet suburb where it all began, Jack walked through the neighborhood with his father, Mike. The streets were filled with people rebuilding, talking, and planning for the future. The sense of community was palpable, strengthened by the trials they had endured together. "You know, I always believed you were meant for something great," Mike said, looking at his son with pride. "But I never imagined it would be something like this." Jack smiled, feeling a mix of pride and relief. "I just did what I felt was right. We all did." They approached a local park where a community gathering was underway. Children played freely, their laughter a sound many thought they might never hear again. Families reunited, and friends recounted tales of bravery and loss. At the center of the park, a makeshift stage had been set up. Jack was invited to speak, a prospect that still made him nervous despite everything he had achieved. As he stood before his community, he looked out at the faces of people who had supported him, believed in him, and fought alongside him. "Today, we begin anew," Jack began, his voice clear and strong. "The war has taught us many things, but the most important lesson is about our own strength and determination. We faced an enemy that seemed invincible, with technology far beyond our own, yet we prevailed." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We prevailed because of each of you. Your courage, your resilience, and your unwillingness to give up. As we rebuild, let's not forget the unity that brought us here. Let's use what we've learned to create a better world." Cheers and applause broke out, resonating with a sense of shared victory and hope. After the speeches, as the crowd dispersed, a group of young children approached Jack, their eyes wide with admiration. "Can you teach us how to make things like you do?" one little girl asked, her voice full of curiosity. Jack knelt down, his heart full. "Of course," he said. "But I'll teach you more than that. I'll teach you to think, to dream, and to imagine. Because that's where all the best ideas start." And so, as the sun set on a day marked by reflection and renewal, Jack found himself surrounded by eager young minds, ready to learn. He started to explain the basics of electronics, using bits of scrap and salvaged materials, crafting lessons not just in technology, but in hope. The rebuilding of Earth was not just about repairing buildings or restoring power. It was about rebuilding lives, restoring faith in humanity, and looking to the stars not with fear, but with wonder and ambition. Jack's journey had inspired a generation, and as he taught, he knew this was just the beginning. As night fell, Jack looked up at the clear sky, now free of alien ships, and allowed himself to dream of the future. It was a future filled with possibilities, challenges, and the promise of new adventures. For Jack and for humanity, it was truly a new dawn.